Welcome to Champions Mojo. Join us for conversations that inspire and empower you as an adult athlete, fitness enthusiast, or master swimmer. Our goal is to make each episode insightful and inspirational and to discover what it takes to build or keep a life of personal excellence. I'm your host, Kelly Pallas, and we're here to champion you. Hello, friends. I'm Kelly Pallas, the host of the Champions Mojo podcast. While some 70-year-olds might be slowing down, today we're meeting a force of nature who just keeps getting better with age. Stick around. You are going to want to be inspired by our guest today, Nancy Steadman Martin. She is a world record-holding master swimmer and a full-time senior partner at the law firm of Martin Melody, LLC in Little Silver, New Jersey, where she specializes in workers' compensation and employment law. Somehow, in between her busy legal career, she's built one of the most impressive master swimming resumes I've ever seen. Nancy has swum the English Channel in record-setting time for women over 50 and completed the coveted Triple Crown of Open Water. That is the English Channel, the Catalina Channel, and a 28.5-mile loop around Manhattan Island. She holds multiple national and world records and shows no sign of slowing down. Just this past January, she set world records in the 70 to 74 age group in the 800 and 1500 free. And last week, she added 2 more national titles to her mini in the 1 mile and the 5K open water events at U.S. Masters Nationals in Sarasota, Florida, beating many of the swimmers in the younger age groups her time. And on a fun side note, she's not just making solo waves. Nancy is part of the mighty Mermaids, a legendary team of powerhouse women in their 60s and beyond who have shattered records together in some of the world's toughest open water relay swims. Nancy, not only does she have one of the greatest resumes in master swimming that I've ever seen, she's one of my own personal heroes. I'm so excited to talk to you, Nancy. Welcome to Champions Mojo.
Hi, Kelly. That was so nice of you to say that. And I have to add to that the first time I was in your heat in a distance event, I don't know how many years ago it was, but as you know, they put you in heats by time, not just by age. So when I was in your heat, I felt like I had made it in the distance world. I was in Kelly's heat in 1500 or 1650. I don't even remember what, but it was a distance event. And I was so excited to be in that heat.
Oh, well, I think I might remember that. I think it might have been the George Mason University, and I was just as excited. Nancy, let's just start off by telling us a little bit about what have you learned about staying competitive as you age? Like, what do you think some of your secrets are?
I think the biggest thing for me with entering competition and staying fit is that setting goals allows me to train better. I couldn't just get in the pool and swim up and down. I need something that I'm looking forward to, whether it be an open water event or a pool event, or just accomplishing something in a workout and working toward that, like doing a set of something, in a certain time, or doing a distance event in the pool and practice. But setting goals has kept me motivated. And the other thing that has kept me motivated in swimming meets lately is my mother, who was, one of my inspirations. She still holds all the New Jersey records as I age up in the backstroke events. So that gives me a goal. But I just look forward to accomplishing different things. And that gives me my motivation to go to practice every morning.
Yeah, setting goals, that's such a great secret. If you don't have goals, you're not really focused. But how cool that you're trying to break your mom's record. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, you come from a swimming family. Your dad was a coach. Your mom started into masters, many years ago, but late in her life. So give us a little background on the family tradition.
My mother, Doris Steadman, was a swimmer as a youngster. In fact, she held a world record for a short period of time in a 40-meter backstroke. It was when they had those 20-meter pools, and she set a record, I think when she was 17, a world record in that 50 backstroke. She was a total backstroker, and she didn't swim, the whole time she was raising her children, myself, and I have 3 siblings. She didn't swim at all. Like when I was growing up, she'd get in once in a while, but not really to do a workout or not to, swim laps. And then when I started going in masters at age 25 to 29, because that was the youngest age group at that time, she went to meets with me. And I think she started timing the people that were in her age group, which at the time was 55 to 59, and figured, you know what? I can get back and do this. And the nationals in the next year were in Fort Lauderdale, one of our favorite places to go in the winter. So she trained. Then from then on, she was hooked. She was setting world records in all the backstroke events. In fact, in 2022, she got inducted into the International Swimming Hall of Fame for Masters swimmers. She had passed away by that time, but she holds and has held almost all the New Jersey records in the backstroke. I'm not traditionally a backstroker, but I started doing a lot more backstroke because I wanted to beat her times as I aged up. And then it's been fun trying to break her records. I'll go to a meet. The toughest ones for me to get are always her 50 backstrokes. And I just got her 50 back in a 70 to 74, but I feel like she's almost next to me in the next lane when I take off because it's really close. In the 65 to 69, it took me 4 years in that age group, and I finally did it at nationals by 1/100th of a second. So that's been fun. It makes me feel like my mother's right there with me.
And is your mom still with us or no?
Now, she passed away in 2013, and when they inducted her in 2022 to the International Swimming Hall of Fame, my brother and I went to the event, and I picked up her award, and I somewhat felt like Cinderella because it was so fun, but it wasn't my ball. It's not really my award, but I almost felt like it was. It was just such a fun event. They had all the Olympians were there, Craig Beersley, Greg Louganis, Dara Torres was the host. It was an incredible event. And, my mother would have loved it.
I think you being there was quite appropriate. Like you have definitely carried on that tradition. Nancy, let's back up here just a minute and tell us how in the world you have time to train at such a high level with being an attorney, a partner, a senior partner in your law firm and working full time.
Fortunately, I have 2 excellent law partners, a father and a son, and we all have other interests. They love to play golf. I like to swim. Therefore, we try to accommodate each other's schedules when I'm away to meet, and one of them is in the office, but we work together to do our job. And, I get up early. My first dive in the pool is usually at 5:05 a.m. And you can make time, and then that sets me in a great attitude for the entire day. I feel like I've done my swim. I still get to the office, by like 8:15, 8 o'clock. I swim for about an hour, 45 minutes. And it just sets my day on such a better note after I've had a swim practice.
Oh, for sure. How many days a week are you doing that?
People tell me I shouldn't be doing this, but I need to be in the water every day. I swim 7 days a week. There's a couple days where I'll do a lighter workout. And this summer, as soon as even actually starting in the spring, we'll do ocean swims, myself and a couple friends of mine. And that's kind of a relaxing swim for me. And just do a long, easy swim in the ocean. And they're kind of my off days, but I generally do swim 7 days a week. I'll take off sometimes in the week before a swim meet. And I will try to taper a little bit when I'm going to a big meet, but I need to be in the water each day. I don't feel right if I'm not.
What kind of yardage are you doing on a daily basis?
I do about 4,500 to 5,000, 5 days a week. And like I said, a couple days are a little bit lighter, but I just like to do about 45 each day.
And any strength training?
I do some dry land a couple days a week. I do need to incorporate more weights. I know that as you age, you get weaker, and I do need to incorporate more weight training. And I can do that at the facility where I go. It's hard to fit everything in time-wise, but I do need to do some weight training. And I'm going to try to incorporate that as my goal for the summer.
Very good. Yeah, that'll be scary if you can add any strength training. Have you done any hormone replacement therapy?
No, I never have. I kind of hesitate in taking any kind of supplement. I felt like I was going through menopause. I just kept looking forward and going ahead. Figured this is part of life. I'll deal with it. And I just kept going forward.
I always think, well, my grandmothers didn't have any of that stuff and they were out there kicking butt all their lives. I think as athletes, we probably have an easier time with it. I think exercise probably helps everything that we do. So
It does. And I guess I feel like the body is such an amazing machine that I feel like the natural changes that you go through, it's important to like acknowledge them, but not to let them stop what you're doing or not to let them interfere with what you're doing. When I was getting close to 70, I was fighting 70 with all my might. Like I was working harder in the pool. I was training more often, doing more yardage. And I thought, oh, that's going to keep me young. And it does to a certain extent. But yet I sometimes do have to acknowledge I'm 70 and I might need more rest.
yeah, do you notice a big difference from 50 to 60 to 70?
I probably noticed the biggest difference with 70 as my intervals and my times on those intervals get a little slower in workout where I don't recover quite as fast as I used to. For example, I was just in Sarasota and I did the mile on Friday and the 5K on Saturday. Felt fantastic both days. And part of that's probably the traveling. When I came home, I always have a delayed reaction to an event or to stiffness. But I definitely was very much slower in the pool on Tuesday and Wednesday. And now I feel like I'm coming back again, but I take a little bit longer to recover.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Do you have anything that you use as a barometer? I'll give you an example. My barometer for aging for me is the 500 free. And I feel like the 500 free is a good distance for kind of being a long sprint. I don't even think of it as really a distance. It's kind of like you've got to have speed to swim a good 500 and you've got to have endurance. I think hitting a 530-ish 500 free is a good time. I think I was at, 527 in my 40s. And then this year in the 60 to 64 age group, I went 538. So I feel like, okay, I'm still in the 530s. This next year, I'll hit the 65 to 69. So I'm like going to be looking at my 500 free thinking, can I maintain that speed? Can I maintain that endurance? Do you have something, pull-ups or sit-ups or a set of 10 100s on a certain interval or something that you track your progress with?
It's funny that you mentioned the 500 because that's my barometer in meets also is my 500 time, mainly because, I'm a distance swimmer, but you can push a 500. It's different than 1,000 or 1,650. And I use that as my barometer too. In fact, they always call me like one pace Nancy in practice. I do my warm up and we usually do a 600, but I always note my 500 on the way because then I can pretty much tell how the rest of my workout's going. I always try to be under 7 on the way in my 500. And if I'm over, I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling it today or I'm tired today. But that's kind of the event I use as my barometer on how I'm feeling on a daily basis in practice and then how I'm doing in a meet.
So, Nancy, what other rituals or routines do you use to be so successful in your law career, in your swimming? Are there certain things that you do that sets you up for success in the pool?
Setting me up for success in the pool has been pulling inspiration from the people that I surround myself with. I try to always be around positive people who set goals and who want to work toward them, no matter what level they are, faster than me, slower than me, in a pool or just in general in life. I like to be around positive people that inspire me. And there's so many around me that do inspire me, friends that inspire me with their kindness and try to make me, it helps make me a better person. Or my law partners who are dedicated to helping injured workers, that inspires me. So I pull inspiration from a lot of different people. And I think being around positive people with goals is definitely a big plus in my success and focusing on other things. Like when I look around, some people might put up their awards. I was noticing this when I was thinking about the podcast. The things that are on my walls in my house are pictures of the people I swim with. My mighty mermaids take up a few walls because we've been together for now 20 years. And we are constantly involved with each other. We have our Zoom meetings. We do a lot of talking and texting, and they inspire me. And each one of my mighty mermaid friends inspires me in very different ways because we're very different personality wise. So that's how I pull strength in my law practice and in my swimming and just in life in general.
Oh, that's a beautiful technique. Certainly, the people that we surround ourselves with have such an influence on our overall outcomes in life. They say you look at your 5 closest friends, and that's really who you're going to be like. So I love that. So I would love to hear what you would consider one of your very best comeback stories.
I have to say that it was when I had pneumonia and needed lung surgery and came back from that. In 2017, I did a 10K swim in Bermuda and did very well. I came home, and about 5, 6 days later, I started feeling like I had the flu or was tired. And I just kept kind of pushing it through. And then I really felt horrible. So I finally did go to a walk-in clinic, and they said, "You have pneumonia, you got to go to the hospital." And in the hospital, my pneumonia had turned into an odd infection, and I ended up needing lung surgery. I was in the hospital for 10 days, and they had to go inside from this between my ribs and I guess clean out my lungs. I don't know really exactly what it was, but it took me a month or two to recover. I don't think that was the longest period I've gone in my entire life with not swimming. I missed about 6 weeks where I couldn't go to the pool after the 10 days in the hospital. And then coming back from that was a challenge. And I still do feel every once in a while in my left side, my left lung, that I have to warm up and take deep breaths. And it feels like it's tighter than the other one. But coming back from that was a challenge. And it was my goal to come back stronger than when I had pneumonia. And I feel like I accomplished that goal.
Wow, that is quite a comeback story. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine thinking you're going to get some medicine and end up in the hospital and in surgery. Wow. How did you handle that mentally? Did you kind of freak out or?
I'm more of a person that I always look forward and I don't dwell on like, oh, I did ask myself, how in the world did I get pneumonia? I'd never been sick, never been in the hospital. I, had a clean bill of health all my life. So this was really a shock to me. But one of the lessons that my father, who was also my swim coach, always would say to me was, you're only as good as your next race. So don't gloat on what you did and don't cry about what you did. Just look forward and you're only as good as your next one. And it's been a really good life lesson for me. It was good in overcoming pneumonia. I just looked forward and said, I'm getting over this and I'm going to be better than I was and it's not going to limit me. My husband had passed away in 2009, and that was a difficult time, but I still always looked forward and tried to make the best of a situation. I took over his business in addition to my law practice, which was supplying lifeguards to different beaches and condos. So that helped me get through that period of time. I always look ahead at goals or what I can do without limitation.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that sounds like a really great mindset. What is your mindset when you are in the middle of a difficult swim?
The first part of any long distance swim, like Manhattan or Catalina, that's my hardest time. I almost feel like, I wonder if my boat will notice if I go down to the bottom and just stay there. Like I don't feel like swimming. It's a horrible feeling. And I've gotten it in almost every long distance swim I have done, probably except the English Channel. But I did Tampa Bay and I felt that way. Manhattan Island, I think all 4 times I felt that way. And I get through that by trying to focus on the other people that are in my life or that are counting on me to keep going. And I do an odd thing when I do a really long one. I pretend I'm being interviewed about my life from somebody that goes the whole swim. Like I start off when I was a kid and I pretend I'm being interviewed. And that's what got me through a lot of long distance swims when I feel like I just want to quit and go to the bottom of the sea. But when I'm in a 1650, I probably do something that I know is not probably recommended by others, but right from the beginning, I focus on somebody else. Like I'd love to have somebody next to me that's a little faster or that's near me. And even if they're a lot faster, I'll concentrate on trying to stay with them or not have them lap me so much if that's the heat I'm in, like when I'm with you. I try to focus on another person because it seems to take away the pain that I'm feeling or the fact that I'm thinking, oh no, I've got 20 laps to go. That helps me get through most of my thousands or 1650s.
Yeah, that I can see that. I think part of that is just sounds like distraction, which is great. Sometimes when I can do that, sing a song or do something else. Is there anything in master swimming that you really haven't accomplished that you want to?
Oh, yes. One of my travel buddies to swim meets was a woman named Julia Dulce. And I loved her goal so much, I wanted to be mine. And her goal was to be the last one standing is the true winner in a master's competition. So when you're the oldest one and you're standing on the side of the pool ready to race an 800, you're the winner. In other words, you've survived everybody else and you're still active enough to still be doing the sport and the events that you love. So that's a goal for me. My other goal is to keep holding on as best I can. I know I'm not going to do some of my fastest times, but holding on as best I can as I age up.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty satisfying knowing that you just turned 70 into the 70 age group and you're the fastest 70-year-old woman ever to swim the 1500 meter free in the world.
I'm the fastest one in short course meters, but my Mighty Mermaid teammate, Christy Serralo, holds the long course.
Oh, right. The long course. The short course, you're in the
short course one. But that's Christy and I have a real fun dynamic where we want to see the other one succeed. And because we want to try to do better than that one in the next one. So we've gone back and forth a little bit on that, but she does hold the long course and I hold the short course. But I know she's gunning for my short course and I'm gunning for her long course. So we have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, and I love that. Let's talk a little bit about the Mighty Mermaids. These are some of the most decorated women in master swimming. Were some qualifications to get into the mermaid group. Christy started it a long time ago. Tell us a little bit about it and how that has affected you being such a great swimmer.
The Mighty Mermaids started, as you said, by Christy Serralo, who wanted to do some relays and some fun events. And she wanted to be competitive. So she went through and looked to see who were the fastest distance swimmers in her age group and, around that age so that we could come together and do a relay. And I didn't really know Christy well at all. I had met her and swam against her in a national competition in Fort Lauderdale. When we compared notes later on, we realized we had gone to some other open water races, one in Hawaii earlier on. But she got the group together. She called me. And of course, somebody wanting to do an open water relay, I was on board immediately. And then Tracy Grilly, we call her the queen of our Mighty Mermaids because she just pulls us all together. And then we have Karen Eiseidler, who's one of the top distance swimmers and English Channel swimmer and just an incredible swimmer. And then Ronnie Hibben, who's our speed demon and who can do distance also, but open water. And she's a real sprinter in the pool. So we've had a blast. We've been together 20 years. We started when all of us were 50 to 54 so that we could do the Lake Tahoe really as our first race. And then we've been together ever since. And we've been very fortunate that Tracy's husband, David Grilly, has become our merman. He goes on all our trips with us and keeps us all together. When we have a disagreement about something, he's our referee and our calming influence on all of us. And he's fantastic. That's where I stayed when I was in Sarasota, and it was great fun.
Oh, yes, that's wonderful when you just went to the nationals down there. Yeah, I know you guys also you have matching bathing suits and you meet at places and, do open water swims together, obviously. You guys are a super fun group and I got to spend some time with you guys when nationals were last summer. We're out in Mission Viejo and we swam in La Jolla Cove and that was really cool. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, the Mighty Mermaids are very cool and I noticed you guys even have your own open waterpedia page. So if people want to get more information on you, on the Mighty Mermaids, it's a good place to check it out.
I have probably a full size bureau of Mighty Mermaid clothes because every swim we go in, we get new bathing suits, we get new sweatshirts, we get the whole gamut going of attire, jewelry, everything. It's just a fun thing. When we go in a swim, we usually make it a week of a Mighty Mermaid adventure. So we go on side trips. That's how we ended up in La Jolla Cove. We all did nationals, and then we did our San Diego swim, and then we came together and did some activities. So it's such a fun group.
Yeah, I know every single one of you. I know all. Actually, I don't know Veronica or Ronnie, as you call her. I know her as a studly swimmer, just being Veronica Hibben and seeing her in the record books. But I know Karen and Tracy and Christy and you, of course, really well. Did I leave anybody out there?
We had a couple different ones in the beginning, but this is our five. And then last year we had a guest mermaid, Susan Helmrich, who's very involved in the Swim Across America. And she was a wonderful guest mermaid. And we've had so many people come up to us that are in our age group and want to be a mermaid. And we say, well, you can start your own group. We don't have the lock or the patent on Mighty Mermaid group, but we've had so much fun together. And I think people see that and want to be a mermaid.
Yes, it's a great group. Really, really fun. Okay, so is there anything that I haven't asked you that you would like to share with us before we do our sprinter round of fun questions?
I guess one thing I'd like to say is people say blood is thicker than water, and it is. But I'd have to say water is pretty thick, and we're all connected, like in the swimming community, by water, and it's such a beautiful thing. I have a poster in my kitchen that says, "Out of water, I am nothing." And I just need water to survive. But the friendships I've made, and I know we have a mutual friend of Kay Andres, but the community that's around us is just such a beautiful thing. Water's pretty thick. It's a very meaningful bond that we all share with each other. And it's just such a nice thing to be a master swimmer and, know and have met the people that I have met and all the connections that are in between us.
That's so true. And yes, when I found out, I should have put it together, you being a New Jersey girl. But yeah, Kay and I swam against each other, even though we were friends in college. It was just cool to know that you guys are friends. And then now we're all, the three of us are on a little text chain. And yeah, I'm connected with Kay, and I'm going to put it on here on the national podcast here that we want Kay to make a swimming comeback, right? And swim a match.
Oh, for sure. I really wish she would do that. And she can. She can get in the water. She loves the water. She loves floating around in it, but now she's got to start swimming in it.
Yes, yes. And we can do her comeback story. I already texted her that. So, Nancy, are you ready to play some sprinter round?
Okay, well, give it a try.
Take your mark.
What is your favorite sandwich?
Peanut butter and jelly.
What do you own that you should throw out?
Lots of shoes.
Not old mermaid suits?
It's hard for me to part with bathing suits. I did a contest once with somebody, how many days we could go with wearing a different suit every day. I got to over 100.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I could throw out some bathing suits.
Scariest animal to you?
Probably a wolf.
A wolf, of course. The wolf pack, we're scary. All right. What celebrity would you most like to meet?
Howard Stern. And I know that might seem odd. I listen to him every day, and I've just felt like I would love to be interviewed by Howard.
Yeah, I could see that. I think Howard's very interesting. That's cool. All right. What is the hardest swimming event in the pool?
200 butterfly for me.
Favorite movie?
Field of Dreams or The Big Blue. It's about deep water diving, but Field of Dreams is probably one of my favorites.
Both really good ones. How about your favorite smell?
I like the smell of chlorine.
Okay.
I probably should say salt. I like the ocean smell better.
Okay, smell of the sea. Okay.
Yes.
Do you make your bed every morning?
Yes.
Kickboard or no kickboard?
No kickboard.
Favorite type of music?
I like all genres, but I'd have to say probably rock and roll. Beatles, Rolling Stones.
Okay. Window or aisle?
Oh, definitely aisle.
Describe your life in 5 words.
Challenging, interesting, fun, inspirational, and I can't think of another one.
Wet.
Wet. Okay, yes, wet would definitely be it. Yes, water.
That's what I would say. All right. What word comes to mind when you dive in the water? Not necessarily when you're racing, but just this is more of a spiritual question.
I'm home.
Oh my gosh. No way.
Yes, I'm
No,
home.
okay. So that's mine, which, yeah, no one has ever said that, but I've said it before on the podcast. I always say I'm home. Like that's exactly.
I'm home. That's the way I feel every time I go in the water. I'm home.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Nobody said that. We can go through 300 podcasts here almost, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, it is. It's like you're home. So maybe I'm a mermaid too, and I just didn't know it.
I think you are. We're mermaids in other lives.
Yeah. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. You know, we could have spent hours chatting, but really, really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. You gave me inspiration, and now I got to start working a little harder tomorrow because of, I know what all you've accomplished, and that inspires me. I take inspiration from everybody I talk to that's a swimmer like you. So thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate it, and I will see you around the pool deck.
Thank you for listening to the Champions Mojo podcast. Did you enjoy the show? We'd be grateful if you would leave us a 5-star review on iTunes to help others find us. And we'd also love to hear from you. We're on all social media platforms, or you can reach us at championsmojo.com.